Good afternoon to members of the media. Good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. This is a joint press brief with the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force and the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. Heading the delegation at the head table is the Chief of the Defense Force, Air Vice Marshal Darrell Daniel, and the Commissioner of Police, Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, Mrs. Earl Christopher. We also have the Deputy Commissioner of Police Operations, Mr. Junior Benjamin, Deputy Commissioner of Police Intelligence and Investigation, Ms. Suzette Martin. We also have Deputy Commissioner of Police Administration in the audience, Ma'am Natasha George. We also joined by Assistant Commissioner of Police, Mr. Richard Smith, and of course, Lieutenant Commander Cherise Moore from the TTDF, Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force. This joint press brief is called in relation to the state of emergency that currently exists in Trinidad and Tobago as of yesterday. At this time, I invite the Commissioner of Police to address members of the media and the Trinidad and Tobago. Commissioner.
Thank you, Inspector Lewis. To the viewing and listening public and the media, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. In response to the increase in violent crimes being committed within Trinidad and Tobago by criminal groups through indiscriminate use of high-powered weapons to commit murders and woundings in public and private places, and the perpetration of gang violence, the President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago has declared a public emergency has arisen because of the occurrence of actions of such a nature and on so extensive a scale as to be likely to endanger public safety. Following the proclamation made on the 30th of December, the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service has been hard at work to ensure public safety. The state of emergency confers upon the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service expanded powers to enable it to better execute its law enforcement mandate. The events of the past week are well known to all of us and should generate a serious cause for concern for all right-thinking persons in the national community. That situation, according to our intelligence, had the potential to escalate into a grossly undesirable threat to public safety that the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service will not condone. With the additional powers, we are now available. With the additional powers that is now available through the state of emergency, this will empower us to utilize our intelligence to launch very invasive policing operations targeting known and prolific offenders, particularly those involved with illegal drugs, firearms and ammunition, and the commission of violent crimes, including kidnapping, home invasions, and homicides. We will continue to fully utilize the power legitimately and guarantee that we will get the desired results. We will be transparent in our communication and will hold ourselves accountable for ensuring that the public is kept informed. While we conduct our operations, it is inevitable that the public will be inconvenienced at times. But I wish to assure all law-abiding citizens that it is necessary and the police will be fair and responsible in the conduct over the period. I call upon all citizens to be responsible also and to cooperate with law enforcement. The criminals have had innocent citizens literally under the gun for too long. And this finally is perhaps our best opportunity to have them on the run. Let's work together to give ourselves the best opportunity to reclaim our communities and restore some level of peace and safety in our country. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in serious times. There is serious work to be done, and we have serious days ahead. Now is a good time to cooperate with the TTPS, be a part of this effort to bring safety and security back to our beloved nation, Trinidad and Tobago. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Christopher. We invite now the Chief of the Defense Force, Trinidad and Tobago Defense, Chief of the Defense Staff, Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force, Air Vice Marshal Darrell Daniel at this time, please, sir.
Thank you very much, Inspector Lewis. Members of the viewing public, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, good afternoon. Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force, in accordance with the Defense Act, Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force, in accordance with the Defense Act, continue to provide aid to the civil power, specifically in this case with the state of emergency, as empowered by Emergency Powers Regulations 2024, Regulations 20, where the Commissioner of Police has requested the assistance of the Defense Force, and we stand in readiness to assist as required. And we will act in accordance with general rules and special instructions that I will issue in accordance with what assistance is required. We look forward to assisting the police to address this critical challenge to public safety and ensure that we return the nation to a state of safety and security through these operations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, CDS. I now introduce who we also have at the head table, Acting Sergeant Zahir Ali, who is a legal officer with the TTPS, and he will go through some of the portions of the regulation in relation to the current SOE. Sir?
Protocols observed, members of the head table, citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, members of the media. We thought it's important to ensure that members of the public is aware of the legal framework in which the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, and by extension the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force, will be taking actions. Just by way to contextualize, it's public knowledge that there has been a proclamation by Her Excellency regarding a public emergency that has been declared in Trinidad and Tobago. Just from an academic point, under the Constitution of Trinidad and Tobago, we have the authority under the Constitution to declare a state public emergency. Case in point, for example, if there's an earthquake, if there's a hurricane, and we all would have learned a couple of years ago where there was an infectious disease affecting Trinidad and Tobago. In this instance, the proclamation is on the ground where Her Excellency is satisfied that actions have been taken. There are immediate threats by persons of such a nature and so extensive a scale as to be likely to endanger the public safety. Now I want to expound on, we have been hearing the concept public safety. Public safety, respectfully, is every single citizen in Trinidad and Tobago and those who may be visiting our shores at this time and in the future. It's also important to understand that persons may be concerned in terms of what authority that the police is going to be acting on with this proclamation of a public emergency. And sometime yesterday, we were provided with the emergency powers regulations to be able to govern the operations of the police and the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force with reference to treating with this threat to public safety and security. The emergency powers regulations, there's been, I am aware that a lot of questions with reference to the additional powers that have been given to the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service and the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force. So just to simply contextualize. Number one, the power to enter premises without search warrant to search for high-powered rifles, firearms in general, explosives, ammunition, and any other item that may be a prejudice to public safety and security. Number two, the emergency powers regulations have afforded Her Excellency as well the authority to issue further orders should the need arise. Thirdly, it also affords the police commissioner the authority to issue orders as the need arise. And I'll share in a short while some of the things that can be addressed by virtue of these orders that I'm speaking about. Fourthly, it provides for a preventative detention order under the hands of the Minister of National Security under particular circumstances. It also provides for a 48-hour window in the first instance for detention where the threshold is met. For example, someone who provides or poses a threat to public safety and security. And importantly here, it provides an additional period of 7 days maximum, which will be assessed by a sitting magistrate or an assistant superintendent of police in the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. And finally, not being exhaustive, the search and seizure regarding evidence. Now, members of the public, we are aware that you all may be concerned about whether in fact these powers or how these powers will be exercised. On behalf of the Commissioner and the Chief of Defense Staff and the other senior officers of the agency, we have developed a departmental order under the hands of the Police Commissioner to direct the police in the execution of their duties under the emergency powers regulations and under other laws that currently exist. We also have the privilege, or I should say, the benefit of a recent Court of Appeal judgment of Trinidad and Tobago. And that Court of Appeal judgment, for those who be interested in reading, was issued on January 11, 2024 by Justice of Appeal Alan Mendonca when he looked at the matters of Earl Eli, Ashmead Mohammed, and Dominic Pitilal. And importantly, the findings of that Court of Appeal judgment, supported by other United Kingdom Privy Council judgments, is that proportionality was met based on the Court of Appeal judgment. 2, they found that there was sufficient procedural protection. And 3, there was due process. And I'll expand on it. I mentioned a while ago that an assistant superintendent will be reviewing a detention of a person. For those who are aware or those who are not aware, an inspector and above is considered an ex officio police in the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. So we have a senior officer who will be reviewing this detention. Additionally, I spoke about the departmental order, where there is clear instructions on the hands of the police commissioner as to how she wants these operations to be executed with regard to search, seizure, arrest, detention, and if possible, where charges are to be laid. When we are speaking about charges, we also want to give the members of the public an assurance that we will be also engaging our legal department and also the Director of Public Prosecutions to ensure that charges are met on sufficient evidence where there's a real prospect of a conviction. In closing, it's important to remind members of the public that, again, I want to emphasize, all our actions, our intentions is geared towards public safety and security. And I take this opportunity to ask humbly members of the public to join in this support to defend and protect Trinidad and Tobago. I thank you very much.